What is the most humiliating misunderstanding you've ever had? My husband and I got married 5 years ago. We have a great relationship, we love each other, and he had a great relationship with my family. We both have this game we engage in via text. We love to role play. He pretends to be a master and we engage in this type of talk over texting throughout the day, until we ended in the bedroom. 2 weeks ago, we were doing that. I was out with my little sister and I left my phone with her to take some photos. And a text from him saying, "Don't forget to strap in." Thought, I better come and find you ready. Instead of asking me about this, she opened the texting app and saw previous messages. Then she snapped a photo of the conversation with her cell phone. The next day, my mom called me and told me to come home as soon as possible. I went and found my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and my uncle. My mom was crying, saying she was sorry she hadn't seen it before, and my dad was furious. I didn't understand anything, but when they told me, I was furious with my sister. I told them, my husband is a great man and this is a fantasy we sometimes play. The problem is, they think I'm lying. My sister is a social worker. She's convinced without a doubt that I'm lying like all the women she sees in her business to protect my husband cause I love him. No matter what I tell them, they don't believe me. I even took my mom to my room and got naked in front of her for her to see that I was not being abused in any way. But it's like I'm talking to the walls. My sister is using her career to convince everybody that I'm being abused. I even gave my mom my phone and made her read the texts and private conversations between my husband and me. I humiliated myself by making her read those intimate conversations about our kinks and role-playing. She was disgusted at first but didn't say anything. Then she talked to my sister and came back to me saying that my sister has seen behavior like this with abuse victims. She claimed that I'm so brainwashed that I don't see how engaging in these types of activities is abuse. And that my husband has groomed me, so I don't see how he's abusing me. When I told her that BDSM was originally my suggestion, she yelled, "Please stop protecting him. We didn't raise you to be like that." My sister is not a bad person. I believe that because of what she sees in work, she thinks that I'm suffering and projecting on me. I don't know what to do. My husband found out about it a couple of days ago. My brother went to his workplace and made a scene in front of everyone. Now at work, there is talk about him abusing me because of my brother's words. My husband says we should have no contact with my family since they won't believe anything we say. I told him that we should go to another state. We were planning to start a family and have kids. With all this happening, I don't believe it'd be great to have a family where we live right now where such rumors are held over our heads. So a new place where no one knows us would be perfect for us. But my husband says if we did that, it'd appear that he forced me to run with him. And would enforce these ideas more in my family. He wants to remain here and face these allegations head on. Last night, my mother called me and asked whether I confronted my husband or not. I told her there was nothing to confront as nothing happened and I was not being abused. She said that's what my sister told her I might say cause that's what abuse victims do. And if I don't make a stand they'll go to the authorities and report my husband. I'm now terrified. My husband is already getting some glances from his co-workers since my brother confronted him. They already think he abuses me. Even if I went to a legal advisor I don't know how that would help at the moment with this situation. I refused to make a stand because nothing was happening, so my family filed a police report accusing my husband of domestic abuse. I had a visit from the police and they kept asking me whether I was being abused or not. I repeatedly said that I wasn't. But because one of the cops is a friend of my brother, she kept telling me to come clean. It was so much that I asked them to leave and not speak to me again without our lawyer present. She gave me her card, told me to call her anytime my husband tries to hurt me again and that she'll be checking on me to make sure I'm okay. So I called my lawyer. She advised us not to speak to the police again, since in our state, BDSM is not legal. The reason for that is that according to the law, you can't consent to receive pain via any activities like hitting or slapping. Also, using restraints during intimacy makes the person restrained in the eyes of the law and unable to consent. Most of the time the police understand the BDSM community and know that it's not abuse. However, their understanding and not arresting people engaging in BDSM is a courtesy. If a police officer decided to follow the law to the T, they'd arrest the person engaged in the act. So, she advised us not to speak to any of my family members or the police until she met us both and established a way of protecting my husband. As for my husband, his boss at work told him that my family has been calling them, mocking them for hiring a wife beater. And if he can't solve these issues he'll have to fire him. After my family called the police on my husband, they came to our house. Then things took a turn for the worse. We live in a relatively small town and most people know each other, so news travels fast that I'm in an abusive relationship. Everyone in my family now knows that my husband abuses me, and the reason that he hasn't been arrested yet is because I'm too afraid to come forward. So, my entire family is now pressuring me. My husband was confronted by one of my cousins and they exchanged fists outside of a local shop. They were both arrested, but my husband stayed locked up for some time. My brother's friend, the officer who came to our home, roughed him up pretty bad there. As I mentioned, the word got around very fast, and a week ago my husband was fired from his job. Our lawyer told us we could sue the company, but my husband refused since the only thing he wants now is to move to another state and put this nightmare behind him. Our lawyer issued a restraining order against almost all of my family members, including my mom, dad, brother, and sister. Since then, my husband has been preparing himself to move away. And last night he went to another state. He'll be staying with one of his childhood friends till he finds a place to rent. He told me to stay for a bit and not follow him right away because he needed a break from everything. That I don't really understand. I was abused just like him, but whatever. Of course, all of this drove a big wedge between him and me. A couple of nights before we got into a fight, he said that if I hadn't suggested and encouraged him to get into the BDSM with me, none of these things would have happened. Then we both exchanged some hurtful words. Well, now he's in another state. And he hasn't picked up my calls since yesterday. He just texted me that he's at his destination and safe. Before he left, he told me that if I chose to follow him, he would never engage in any kind of BDSM activity with me again. And that I need to think about it clearly to decide if I want to remain married to him or not. I really don't understand why he's punishing me like that. It's not like I had anything to do with this. I have a lot of thinking and decisions to make. My family are all sending me texts to congratulate me because I pushed him away. And I keep telling them to leave me alone, but they won't listen.